So the next tool is non-word reading. This is also a timed tool, and it has a student version of this image here. So you will need to have the student version on the desk between you and the student. Here is the student version. And you can see that there are 5 columns and 10 rows of words, which makes 50 words. First thing you'll notice is that these are not English words. These are nonsense words. Why are we asking the children to read nonsense words? The reason is because there is an over-reliance on memorization of sight words as a strategy. This is a good strategy for reading, but if there are no other strategies like decoding or blending or segmenting, then the child will struggle when they meet new words. We're trying to isolate the child's ability to decode unique words. Do they have the phonemic tools to be able to read zaf or neb or suf? So this is a time tool, and if you remember from the letter identification tool, we're trying to also isolate automaticity. Can they read these words automatically and fluently without too much of a cognitive effort? Again, this is a key skill in becoming a fluent reader. So you're going to use a timer set to 60 seconds. Again, you can use your phone timer. Start the timer as you say begin. If a pupil hesitates or stops on a non-word for 3 seconds, point to the next word and say, go on. For example, zaf, neb, suf. This is where you would intervene and ask the student to go on, to attempt the next one. When the timer reaches 0, you'll say stop. If a pupil does not provide a single correct response on the first line, say thank you and discontinue this tool by answering yes. The pupil did not provide any correct responses. Finish this tool and move to the next. Select that and click next. So the first line, if there are no correct responses here, you can see that it's pointless to take the whole 60 seconds to try and get the student to read the rest. If the student does get the correct answer on the first line, you'll click no. The pupil provided at least one correct response. Continue with this tool. And you'll see there are 3 measures that we need to record here. Back to the pupil instructions, you will say, here are some made up words in English. I would like you to read as many as you can. Do not spell the words, but read them. For example, this made up word is flum, and you can see you have flum at the top. Let's practice. And then point to the word trit, the second one, and ask them to practice and see if they can read it. If the student gets it correct, say, good, this made up word is trit. If they're not correct, you can tell them this made up word is trit. Again, we are not testing them on their ability to understand instructions, so it's perfectly fine to give the instructions in BM. Finally, you'll say, when I say begin, start here and point to the first word. Point here and then tell them to read across the line and then move to the next line. You can show them with your finger. Tell them, read as quickly and carefully as you can. If you come to a word you don't know, go on to the next word and ask them to put their finger on the first word. Just like in the letter identification tool, we're going to record which word the child finished on at 60 seconds. For example, if the child finished here, we know that this is 24 because we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This will also help you. So 24. But that doesn't tell us how many words they got correct in 60 seconds. So, like the letter identification tool, keep your notebook handy so you can tally the incorrect answers. For this example, let's imagine the child had 5 mistakes. So the correct words will be 19. 24 minus 5. How many non-words did the pupil read incorrectly in 60 seconds? So this is 5. There's a note here that we are only interested in the number of incorrect non-words, not the number of non-words the pupil did not attempt. So in this instance, they finished here. We are not counting all of the words they did not attempt. For example, if a student finished on non-word 35 but had 3 incorrect responses, please put 3 here. And again, how many seconds did the pupil use? In our example, they obviously used 60 seconds. However, you might find students who are fluent at reading or confident in reading, and you can easily imagine that they'll finish all of these in 60 seconds. Zaf, Neb, Saf, Plok, Grav, Drit, Malp, Lonk, Queb, Vo, Jet, Kiv, etc. When you've finished, click Next to move to the next tool.